Welcome back to the Moreno Show. One of my favorite things that have happened under the Trump administration that I didn't expect, but I do absolutely love is the unapologetic value that there is for Christianity and faith from Secretary of War PX at holding prayer meetings in the Pentagon on a regular monthly basis to Secretary of HHS Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking about how the president is doing the Lord's work in regards to the Middle East and even his own personal comments to his physical health and its relationship to the divine, to President Trump in February establishing the White House Faith Office, and just countless more examples that I could pull up. But someone at the center of this conversation as of recently is surprisingly Nicki Minaj. Her being one of the loudest voices against the persecution of Christians is a development that I had not seen coming in 2025. But honestly, I cannot be happier to talk about it. And I want us to today. But before we get into it, make sure you like this video or subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Now, let's dive right in. So just today, Nicki Minaj posted these banger tweets, so I will blaze right through, starting with her tweeting, "Nothing brings me joy like the band's memes," and knowing he leaned into it like a boss. Top tier comedy character equals 100, but make no mistake, Vance is an assassin. Don't debate him on anything quick as a computer, maybe quicker. He's the best blend I've ever seen of us and them, and it is a photo of a Chucky. This was shared this morning, and last night, JD Vance also posted this. I genuinely think JD Vance might have found his trolling partner because, of course, he just is very, very loud about this. So last night he posted saying, "Nicki over Cardi." And this is virtually a declaration of war. Of course, Cardi B was someone who was actively campaigning in 2024 for Kamala Harris. She wanted her to win. She was upset when she didn't win. But Cardi B is actually really mad about what's going on with Nicki Minaj. She even tweeted this just moments ago. She said, "I am so famous." Yeah, she is so mad. I am telling you. And then Nicki Minaj also posted this, a direct jab at Gavin Newsom, governor of California. She tweets, "The Vance over the Gab Knots." An obvious diss at Gavin Newsom and an obvious endorsement of JD Vance and the possibility of a head-to-head battle in the 2028 presidential election, because polls and prediction markets suggest that Gavin Newsom is going to be the next Democratic presidential nominee. So needless to say, Gavin Newsom is having a pretty bad week. Like we saw Haley Berry just say that he should not be president because he has no value for women. He's also been called sick and demonic just this week alone. So yeah, pretty tough week. But while I do love the memes and the clapping back at each other and also the endorsement kind of JD Vance, look at this. This is what most people have missed with Nicki Minaj over the past couple of weeks, is just how vocal she has been regarding prosecuted Christians. On X not long ago, she writes, "Reading this made me feel a deep sense of gratitude. We live in a country where we can freely worship God. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion. We don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. Numerous countries all around the world are being affected by this horror, and it's dangerous to pretend we don't notice. Thank you to the president and his team for taking this seriously. God bless every persecuted Christian. Let's remember to lift them up in prayer." And she includes a photo of President Trump's post on Truth Social saying that Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria, sounding the alarm that thousands have been killed, saying that something needs to be done desperately. And it didn't stop there, because look at this. She actually had the opportunity to speak at the UN on this same topic. Here she is then.
In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but also in so many other countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. And I want to be clear, protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity.
That is so good. It's not about taking sides. It is about uniting humanity. If a church is destroyed, everyone's heart should break. What I love about this is so many celebrities speak with fear on the topic of Christianity, but Nicki Minaj is out here not just being public about it, but speaking with urgency and clarity, speaking like someone who actually cares. She's also later seen with Harris Faulkner on Fox News, continuing this conversation.
Especially as artists and people in entertainment. I think it sometimes can feel scary to speak up about anything that may not be the norm or the popular thing to speak about. I never care if something is popular. I care about what rings true to me, to people who are going through hard times right now in Nigeria. I hope that when they see this being done, that it makes them feel heard, that it makes them feel like, okay, someone cares. Yeah.
During the last campaign season, we talked heavily about the influence that celebrities have in the context of elections, and we kind of questioned it. I was fairly critical then because Kamala Harris was wasting millions of dollars on endorsements. It was just terrible. But I do think I like the idea of celebrities if they are going to step into this story. I would prefer it if they were involved in the core policies that they actually care about and the core issues that they care about, rather than it being just a blanket endorsement of a candidate, but an endorsement of an idea. So I don't know who Nicki Minaj voted for, but I do know now that Nicki Minaj is moved by Christian values and she has a high conviction of the freedom of worship. And I think that contrast alone is so different from the mountain of other entertainers and celebrities who just say, "Oh, let's go save democracy," and they're standing next to, Kamala Harris, and it's just utterly meaningless to me. And I think that's why so many people are resonating with Nicki Minaj's boldness here. Anna Lulis writes, "Incredible. Nicki Minaj is one of the only celebrities willing to risk her career to stand up for prosecuted Christians in Nigeria. Glory be to God." And it is all because of this. I saw this from the Free Press. They write, "He's Christian in Nigeria." That meant torture and prison. Look at this right here. It says more than 7,000 Nigerian Christians have been slaughtered by Islamists so far in 2025. Did you hear that? 7,000 Nigerian Christians have been slaughtered by Islamists so far in 2025, and 2025 is not over, by the way. And this article is already a few months old. But I think this was her red pill moment, really, when all this came to light. I know a lot of people have been covering this lately, but since 2009, there's believed to have been over 50,000 Christians that have been killed nationwide. This is a problem that so many people are not willing to talk about. So many people don't even know it exists, but Nicki Minaj is. And look at what Fox and Friends has to say about this as well.
And what you have is a terrorist organization, particularly in the north in Nigeria, Boko Haram, that is literally burning churches, massacring people, torturing people, running them out of their homes to the tunes of tens, if not hundreds of thousands. And so President Trump put a spotlight on it. And, really kudos and thanks to someone like Nicki Minaj as a Christian, but as someone with the following that she has. And with a lot of followers who may not be paying attention to these kinds of issues, to kind of double down. It's a collaboration I don't know that I would have foreseen over the week.
I love it because Nicki Minaj has no obligation to do this, to risk everything, to put it all on the line. But she is now one of the biggest artists who is speaking more boldly about Christian prosecution than most people ever will. And for the people who just aren't happy about this because they're like, "Oh my gosh, well, Nicki Minaj, how qualified is she to have such a conversation?" And God loves to use unqualified people all the time. Okay. And I saw this from Nicki Minaj too recently. She writes, "Will it get even more mysterious if I told you that the tattoo on my arm means God is with me in Chinese?" Almost like it's been an Easter egg that's been here this whole time. And I love it. But that's just what I think. And I'd love to know what you think about Nicki Minaj and the Trump administration's just vocalness on this entire conversation, including their relationship with faith. And hey, if you made it this far, please like, subscribe, turn on the bell. It really does mean the world to me. And if you want to support conversations like this in the future, please go to adamsmoreno.com and maybe consider becoming a member there. All right. Thank you so much for watching. And hey, it's December 11th. All right. So I'm only going to get to say Merry Christmas for the next couple of days. So Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching. I love you all and have a good rest of your day. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.